Hello, welcome to another video brought to you by Erotic Walrus. Now, today, in this video, I want to talk about Genshin Impact. Yes, this is the game that was recently released, and it's just taken the internet by storm. And I've been playing this game for a little bit now, as you can see. Let's bring up my as you can see, I am currently adventure rank 32, which I'm dragging along. I'm definitely not fast. I have not spent any money on uh, refreshing resin. I have spent money on this game. It's just I have not spent it on refreshing my resin and pushing progression. So do keep that in mind. Okay, so this video I want to talk about some features that I think are currently missing that would really make this game much more enjoyable, much more immersive, right? So now keep in mind that this is all just my personal opinion. I am not a game developer. I've never really had any input in game design. Now, first and foremost, I do think that this game needs some sort of function like a personal farm where you can grow your own vegetables. What do I mean by that is if we go and try to cook something, there's a lot of ingredients that you will need to make certain dishes, and of course with different rarity dishes it gets harder and harder, and it's just not as accessible. And whereas consumables are something that is encouraged to be used by the game. If you look at here, right, you have all these dishes and they serve different functions, and if you look at the top left corner here, you can see roughly what they do. So this one is some sort of stamina, right? Man, I guess this is healing, right? Healing, and the one with the sword is offense, right? So these dishes takes different ingredients to make, and sometimes these ingredients are just not easily accessible because you have to either go out and find them, or they're really scattered and really difficult to find. And I'm okay with that for the most part. Like there's a 5-star dish that requires crab meat, and I understand you have to go to beaches, find crabs, and pick them up like that. Totally fine. But for dishes where it requires, I think there was a dish ratatouille. Right, this dish. Uh, it requires carrots to make, and carrots you cannot find them at the general vendor, meaning that the only way to get carrots right now in the game is if you go out into the world, smash buckets, and destroy crates, and just hope that it drops, or you know just explore, find it. And I think that's okay, but we just need an alternative method to grow our own vegetations and kind of min max in that respect, right? So personal farm, I think really good. Really hope to see them implement this going forward. Now number two is grindable mobs. Now this one, some may argue that there are currently mobs that are grindable. If you just go through the world, you just run around, you can grind. But that's not what I really mean, right? Like, and also people would say like there are certain bosses. If you go to, no, not here. If you go up here and you go to bosses, they would argue that all these bosses are grindable. What are you talking about, right? Walrus are crazy. But this is not what I. This is not what. Oh my goodness, my residence. This is not what I mean. Uh, what I really mean when I say grindable mobs is like those groups of mobs that you find out in the wild. I think we need to find a way to implement them into kind of like a rotation of mobs that you can kill. I mentioned this before in my previous video, "What's Wrong with Genshin Impact," uh, where I mentioned that this is a way to keep players actively playing the game. You can stay online, you can find a good rotation of mobs where you kill this like one group, you move on to the next group, and by the time you move back to the first group, it would have respawned already, allowing you to go in this loop of mob killing. Now, I know it sounds pretty mindless, pretty boring, but right now there's a demand for more active gameplay, and I think that is one way, definitely. Of course, you would need to adjust the drop from the mobs, the loot, right, to make it okay and worthwhile for the players to actually grind these mobs. So, like, bump up the drop rates, increase the mora, and add better drop tables for these mobs. Now, number three, world bosses. So now this is not what I don't mean the weekly bosses because we have those, and I know that in 1.1 we're adding on top of the weekly bosses, and for weekly bosses you do need resin to even claim their rewards. Uh, so world bosses are a little different. They could be tied in events where players will go in and have to fight a boss, and then your contribution to the world boss, for example, the world boss may last for a whole month, let's say, and you can do daily contributions, or you can go in like 3 times a day and hit the boss, contribute, and by the end of the month, everything gets tallied up and rewards are distributed according to contributions. And you can do this with co-op with friends, or you can go in solo. It's your choice. And but your entry amount is limited. And yes, people would say, "Oh, well, the pay-to-win players will just get more rewards." Then this is just increasing the gap between pay-to-win players and free-to-play players. Well, I want to ask you this now, right? So the pay to win players right now, are they not already monumentally ahead? If you look at streamers, YouTubers, even like Tenha, I don't know how to say the name. He wants to be called Boomer Hand. I'll just go by Boomer Hand. I'm sorry, Tenha, if you're watching this, but yeah, Tenha, do you really think that a free to play player would have any chance at competing against a player like Tenha? What's wrong there? I don't think there's anything wrong with giving rewards, more rewards to give progression, right? The pay to win players would just progress faster. There's no other way around this problem. But just because, like, why would you halt your own progress because you don't want someone else to progress more than you, right? It doesn't make sense because they're already progressing more than you. Having a world boss that distribute rewards based on contribution would only give more, right? Right now we got zero, zip, nothing. So having anything more than zero would be better, right? And it just let the whales be whales. It's fine because apart from the world boss, you're not really going to be in contact with these players. You're not competing directly in any sort of leaderboards or anything. So I think it's fine. You can bring the rewards, bring it back to your world. You can power up your characters and play the game how you want, give you more resources. So I think that's great, and it gives a chance for us to do co-op and showcase and interact with other players, which is definitely great. So number 4, endless mode. Endless mode is something I feel is needed for the end game of Genshin right now. I feel it's kind of a bit dull, and I've seen other people talk about something like the endless mode, and I feel it needs to give a good chunk of primo gems in return. So this is the catch here, right? I think endless mode is needed, but I don't think it's needed in the regards where people just need something to grind. If we go back to point 2, the grindable mobs, everything is adding progression. It's not just grind for the sake of grinding. You need ways to progress. You need alternate ways to not use resin to progress. Right. So I think that an endless mode should give a good chunk of primo gems in return. So for what I think it should be like something along the lines of clearing past certain thresholds, and players will get more rewards with it, capping at a certain amount obtainable per weekly reset. Now, this will really get the players min-maxing for the late game because in order to push past these thresholds, you need to just like put in every ounce of resource you have to power up certain characters to push past and to achieve that reward tier. And it will also make a great source of primal gems along the way, right? And I'm thinking of around roughly 800 per week, or you can think about 110 pull every 2 weeks. So that's 20 pulls a month, and I think this combined with other sources will give good primo gem income to free-to-play players. And of course, the whales will always be whales. It's a nice little bump for the whales, but to be honest, I think 20 pulls for free-to-play player is not going to be breaking MiHoYo's bank account anytime soon, right? 20 pulls it's nothing. You would need, if you just keep going like this, you would need 4 months to, right? A little over 4 months. Of course, there are other incomes. So let's just say like 3 months. You need 3 months to completely save up for a 90 roll, which is a guaranteed 5-star, and I think that's fair. They are releasing content faster than free-to-play players would be able to keep up, right? Then it would still force free-to-play players to really choose who they want and be patient and wait for the banner rate ups. So I think it's fine. Now, number 5. This one may be a little controversial. People might be like, nah, we don't need this, but I really think we do, right? Hear me out. Number 5, we have pets. No, personally, I feel this world is too beautiful to not have a companion to travel with. And before you say anything, Paimon. Paimon here, you see, this is not a companion. Right? She's emergency food. Right? So that's not a companion. Paimon doesn't count. And I'm talking about animals like that can travel alongside you and can pick up materials as you're playing. Let's say you're fighting mobs over here and they're over there. They found a little like a sweet flower or something, right? Like, and of course there's a cooldown, maybe like every 30 seconds they can pick something up or something like that. It's not game breaking, and it's definitely a feature that I think many could appreciate because you can go out into the world and find ways to get pets, or just customize your own pet, and maybe even have a little wardrobe for your pet. I know people. I know for a fact that certain people are into this kind of stuff. So I think MiHoYo should get on that like right now. This function should have a free to play aspect where, let's say in the 1.1 update you have reputation, and let's say once your reputation reaches a certain point, you unlock the ability to tame the animals of Mondstadt. You can, let's say you can tame foxes, you can tame boars, birds, etc. And each has different skills and talents. You can even make it RNG which skill talents you get, hence adding another grind wall for players to chase after, and which ultimately expands the gameplay experience. There may also be skins for the pets that can be sold to monetize this feature, because gotta monetize everything nowadays. But yeah, to to be honest, I just want to adopt the dog that keeps following me around in Mondstadt. Right? I'm sure you guys seen it around the fountain. There's this little puppy, this little dog that interacts with you, and this also ties into just let me pet the dog, right? Let me pet the dog. Let me feed the dog. Let me befriend the dog. Like in the 1.1 update with reputations, the first thing I want to know is, can we increase our reputation with this dog? Can we increase companionship with the animals in this game? Because I will be very disappointed if MiHoYo does not let us interact with these animals whatsoever. And I think these currently are the 5 features that I think Genshin Impact is missing. I think any one of these features would push the game forward a little bit, and some more than other, right? Like, let's say if they suddenly uh, recalibrated the density of mobs and allowed denser mobs to spawn, which in turn allow you to run mob rotations efficiently to get Mora income, get drop income. I think that would really just change the entire landscape of the game, right? Because you don't need resin to grind mobs, and you can just go mindlessly grinding. Open up someone's stream, open up some YouTube videos on the side, and just grind away. I think that would be a great addition. So yeah, these are the 5 features that I think Genshin Impact is currently missing. If you have your own suggestions, please post them in the comments down below. I do read them, and I will reply to all comments. So yeah, let me know what you think, and I'll catch you in my next video. Once again, this is brought to you by Erotic Walrus, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.